but I'm excited to walk through PlanScan today. I know that we've got some current users on the phone, as well as people that are looking at it currently with me that we've probably walked through it before. But to get started, just want to introduce myself if I haven't spoken with you yet. I've been in software for about 5+ years now. Started out at ZoomInfo, but now I'm with Repfabric and PlanScan. And across the board, I really enjoy software and helping people, become more efficient in their days. And that's exactly what Repfabric and PlanScan do together. A brief note, so PlanScan is a sister company of Repfabric. You can have PlanScan without Repfabric and vice versa. Always like to mention that as you're considering our different products here at Repfabric. So today we've obviously got the little intro, and then we're gonna go through the product demos of the Repfabric workflow as well as the ISQuote workflow. We see a lot of PlanScan users use PlanScan as the jumping board for their cross references into ISQuote. Then we'll have Q&A and then also cover security so you guys understand exactly what you're getting with your instance. So a lot of the times before PlanScan was started, these were some of the concerns we heard just on the Repfabric side from the different industries talking about quoting challenges. And I think anybody that's on the line that's part of a quotations team has definitely had, these frustrations and has felt overwhelmed a little bit at times. I do like to talk about the 30%. One of our heavy users of PlanScan has actually notified us, at the beginning of the year that they're able to get to 50% more jobs that come across their desks. So they're able to be more efficient, get more done in the day, and make more money. And this is kind of the moment I feel like a lot of customers come to us on where, the quotations team is already stretched thin with all the jobs and the quoting. So, you've got your different screens, right? You've got your fixture schedule, you got your cross-reference. You might even have a web browser open to make sure that your cross-reference sheet is correct. And it can get very overwhelming and at times confusing with all the different options, especially in plumbing. Before we jump into the demo, as I said, PlanScan is that cross-reference starting tool, right? Into Repfabric or into ISQuote. And so the first question I always get, and I moved it up in the slides, is about the crosses, right? And so we got a few different options with PlanScan. So you're not necessarily starting from scratch, yet you could. But in implementation, we always ask for uploadable CSV files that have the cross references. And then we can upload those during the implementation timeline. And that way they're already in the system when you go live. Or what we also do see probably, 50% of our customers, they notice after they're using the system that they don't have all their cross references documented or shared them with us. So then you can manually build those throughout PlanScan with just 2 clicks, clicking the floppy disk so it's actually blue, and then clicking the save button. And I think that's an important part because wherever you are in your quotations journey, you can join PlanScan, build up that knowledge base of those cross references so it's not just tribal knowledge, right? And especially with individuals that have 20 years experience, they know all the cross references, they know what options pair, but maybe you've got a younger member of the team that's just getting into it, and PlanScan can really help out with that. The other thing I always like to mention with the PlanScan model. So PlanScan recognizes currently 660 plus manufacturers. It only has trouble, on the fixture schedule side if there's a non-recognized one, right? That might be a brand new one out of China. So then you could send that to us. We could train the model and actually have it work so it recognizes and grabs that. And on the part numbers, I'm really proud. Dima and Pavel that work with me on PlanScan, they've done an exceptional job adding parts. And now we're just over 1.5 million parts that the model recognizes. And this model is just in your instance. It's not going across different things or going out to the web to look for the manufacturers. We actually train that model. So let's get started. And we're going to start with PlanScan into ISQuote. So as you can see in this video, I'm dragging and dropping a fixture schedule. But the 3 things I always like to point out is there's a multiple page button. So when you've got a fixture schedule that's 5 to 20 pages long, you might have a table on page 7, and then you've also got a scan on 13. That can be accomplished with PlanScan. zoom in and out. Obviously, we get some large sheets for quoting, so you can zoom into those fixture schedules to make sure that you're actually dragging and dropping around the correct box. Or on the top right side, you can rotate the image for when a fixture schedule comes in and it's turned sideways. So as I drag and drop this PDF, I actually am going to go to page 5 here because that's where the fixture schedule is that I want to grab. And I'll zoom in a little bit so I can see exactly how I'm going to grab this capture here. And we're going to start on the top right and scroll down to the bottom left. That's how the model works with dragging and dropping like a screen grab. After we submit, the PlanScan Pac-Man goes to work. And the majority of the time we see 45 seconds to a minute 30. So as you can see, PlanScan grabbed this entire side from the fixture schedule, and all the previously saved cross-references jumped into the cross-reference section. So if you wanted to quote directly on this, you could export this and actually quote from it, but there's a little bit of work I want to do here. And in this case, I actually want to add a Zern part to the Sloan. I'll click the drop down because there's a few Zern parts that I have associated with that Sloan that was missed, and I'll click, and in one click that's added, which is really helpful that it's all saved in there. And if you wanted to review those cross references, you could always go to the top of plumbing fixtures and view that on your back end to ensure that they're correct. As I'm working on this fixture schedule as well, if I didn't want something quoted, I could always delete the line. And that's with the little trash can at the end of the line, the red button that you can see. Here's the deletion, so that those products won't be quoted in ISQuote. And I'll do a little bit more cleanup here. And once I review, I can also see that the highlighted items on the left side correspond to the table. So if I didn't know where this Sloan part was, I could hover over it and actually click it, and it would bring me to the Sloan part actually on the scanned fixture schedule. And after I reviewed everything, I'm going to export this TSV to ISQuote. So after I have my ISQuote, I'm going to jump into, or I have that CSV for ISQuote. I'm going to jump in, and you could do the quick quote button if the job's already set up. In this case, I'm setting up a job. So I'll enter the customer's info. And after I save and continue, I'm going to look for this button at the top of the screen, the import quote lines, and paste what's on my clipboard. ISQuote takes about 5 seconds here. It's very quick in extracting the parts. And from here, I can see everything I dropped in. The red, what does that essentially mean? It's a part that wasn't found in my ISQuote database. So maybe I want to review this Bradley part. Maybe I forgot a -1 or something along those lines, but I can review what's not going to be quoted. What it did grab was 64 lines of good quoting material, so I can add those 64 lines after I do a little bit more review. Skip ahead a little bit just so we can get to the add lines to quote, and then click OK. And any ISQuote user is familiar with this scene where you might have manually go in and add some options, but then you can add all of those lines there on your quote. I would obviously expand out the lines so that way all products fit on the quote. And there you've just created a quote using PlanScan as your cross-reference sounding board or jumping board into ISQuote to finalize that process. But in this example, we're going to go after multiple schedules. So as I have this PDF right on my desktop, I'm going to drag and drop this into PlanScan. When I drag and drop it, it's one of those fixture schedules that came in sideways. So I'll actually rotate it. And again, we're going to go from top right down to the bottom left. For the first, the plumbing fixture schedule, then the pump schedule, and then the gas water heater schedule. And as you can see, as these are created, there's a little X over here on the side left. So if you missed one of the sidebars because we want to grab that entire box so the model knows, you could exit that out and then continue to scan and just do a new one. So the PlanScan Pac-Man goes to work. And this is a good example of maybe, someone that didn't put in many cross references initially, as you see the result here. There's not many here, but that's okay because you can manually go through and type those in. So maybe this is all they wanted to quote and they could export here. But in this case, after we, save and submit, this is directly to Repfabric. A quote is now created in Repfabric. So this is a quick link, and I can click on that and actually go to the quote in Repfabric. As I click that quote, it defaults obviously to a master, but I want to review the line items. I can see that all the line items were grabbed. I can even look at the multipliers. And in this case, I want to generate a PDF. So I would click that and then assign it to the customer I actually wanted to generate it for. A lot of people use PlanScan for bundles, and that might be one to many parts or many parts to one. So in this case, this is a CSV that I already have documented of the bundles that I want to quote. So I'll upload those in PlanScan CSV, and I can see after I uploaded those that they're now on the back end, and I could edit and view those if needed. And then I'll extract the fixture schedule here for the sample, drag and drop. I'll submit that. Pac-Man goes to work. And then as you can see that those bundles actually kicked out. So the American Standard 1 to many, and then the LK many to 1 delta. And then if you want to create a new one, you just click that little transparent teal button, and you're able to link those items together. And then moving forward, since that's a blue, color blue, this Chicago part will now populate both delta parts moving forward. So I save that, and now it's saved as a fixture schedule. So I could either save and submit, take it to Repfabric, or I can take it into ISQuote. A lot of people come to us and say, hey, I've got multiple, lines, and they've got competing parts. So for this Watts part, I actually have multiple crosses within my database. And PlanScan lets you know that we've got to resolve that conflict. So after I scanned and it came out that I've got multiple crosses here, so I just have to click the drop down, select whatever part or product I want to, and then I am good to go moving forward, and I could save and export that with no issues. I'm gonna just checking the Q&A, nothing yet. For crosses, this little clip is a great video on how we can manually save those. So I typed in Zern. I'm gonna then finalize the product number here. And as you can see right now, that floppy disk is gray. So if I saved this at the bottom, that would not be a saved cross-reference. Both of these are not saved, so I want to click that blue floppy disk, click save again. I like to click out and click save again just to ensure it, but it was saved on the first time. And if we go to plumbing fixtures drop down, cross-references, we can see that manual cross-reference that we just created in PlanScan. So initially, when you're onboarding with PlanScan, you're going to have some manual cross-references that you add. But after you get past that initial month or 2-month hurdle of ensuring that your most popular cross-references are in there, you're able to move forward with a lot of efficiency. This is a quicker video on the ISQuote integration demo where I export it after already having that one cross-reference. I'll go into existing job. I could click here, but I clicked into the job, import quote lines, paste it. I want to add this one line, and then I would be able to add that to the 3 existing lines. So for ISQuote users, this is always a click through I like to show. This is the data that we're copying from the PlanScan. So as you can see, I didn't cross-reference these A.O. Smith parts. That's okay. They're still grabbed, and that will transfer over into ISQuote, so they're still quoted. After that, I hit the import quote lines. I paste it, and then it populates the lines that I actually want to add, and then I'm good to go with adding those parts to the quote. We do have many people that use kits in series, and this is a good example. So if they're set up in ISQuote as series, you would definitely want to use this feature. In this case, it's just one part product, but as you can see when it populates, that it crosses to itself just with the word series added. So in ISQuote, this user has that set up as a series, so it'll actually expand into 4 to 5 different parts. And we'll see that on the next page after we download this TSV file. I copied and pasted into ISQuote, and right before I'm adding those lines to the quote, you can see here's the series that I imported, and it actually expands that kit into 6 different products. So it really helps speed up time there, and then that way you're able to quote every product of that kit or series. This we've had rolled out for a few customers so far for ISQuote, and we're actually going to do it. We're working on it for Repfabric, but it's the same example of where I'm grabbing that sample fixture schedule. I'll zoom in here and grab part of this table. From the top left down to the top right, or top left down to the bottom right, the PlanScan Pac-Man goes to work. And this really excites me because it lets you know right away what products aren't in ISQuote, and they validate against it. So as you can see, when we first see this screen, we see a lot of yellow. Number one, we're going to resolve that top one with the drop-down menu, but these DS-1, DS-2 are notifying us that these are not products you have in ISQuote, so they will not be quoted. In that top, I'm going to click the watts. And when I click this watts part, it's pretty interesting. You see this green plus mark appear, and I can add options directly from there. So we would ask in onboarding to also send the options from ISQuote, so that way we could activate that feature. But now when I export to ISQuote, those options will be included. I'll fill in a few more here as there's another example of the options. Fill out the Sloan. And then when I saved this document, for instance, as long as that floppy disk is blue over there, that will save as a cross-reference. So that anytime that DSG pops up, that cross-reference will then populate. And it's validating. First, you can see the yellow box. As I click this product, it goes away. And we get a lot of this information directly from ISQuote. Here's the last one that we'll want to fill out for watts. And when I saw that drop down, I saw a green plus mark, so I'll add the options that I want to add in. And now that product has all the options that I would like to add. So I could go forward, copy that TSV, and then go into ISQuote. Always like to talk about the roadmap when we discuss PlanScan. We're working on an AI cross-reference agent, and then also working a lot on our series with options, so that way you can include those options onto a series. We're constantly working on speed and usability improvements. For integrations, we're working also on how you can use PlanScan in your email provider, Outlook, and Gmail. We've completed the integration with ISQuote and Repfabric. We are also working on other quotation systems and Eclipse as well. So really, as we start to wind down here, PlanScan requires a minimum of 2 users, no implementation fee. It's $250 per user per month. But the startup process is pretty simple. You know, you could reach out to me, request a quote. I can send that over to you for the amount of users. After that's accepted, the welcome email will be sent with instructions. If you're a Repfabric user and you got all your products in Repfabric, we can have our developers go in on the backside and load those parts and all the pricing to make sure that's correct. If you're an ISQuote user, I send a welcome email included with Kim Burke over there. We've got a great relationship with ISQuote, so we would get the parts directly from them, and then we would upload those. And Implementation for PlanScan takes about a week to 2 weeks. So we get you up and running, and then the user emails are sent out, and we go from there. We would jump on live training calls too before you start off, and then we have a few courses in our learning management system. The security portion, always like to touch on it, but all of this data that you would input, it's owned by you. We do not take any of that. We don't want to get into the business of selling data to different rep firms or manufacturers at all. But we do testing regularly, and we ensure that the instance of the AI is just your instance and it's not crossing out into another agency or out to the web. And so at this time, if anybody has any questions, put them in the chat. We'll stay on, obviously, for a little bit here to answer anything, but I'm glad that everybody was able to jump on. Toby, will there be a recording of this as well so people that maybe jumped on late can also view?
Absolutely. We'll have a copy of the recording in the LMS system if you are a Repfabric client. And then
Wonderful.
Trey, we'll have to see if we'll be able to make it available to anybody who's not a client afterwards. If you want a copy, just reach out to Trey. Trey will make it available to you.
Yep.
We'll give you a link, Trey, that you can give out person by person.
So we got a few questions. First, is PlanScan currently included with the Repfabric subscription or an add-on feature? PlanScan is an add-on feature. It is not included in the Repfabric subscription. Another question, we, the rep, are responsible for providing our cross-references for the implementation process. Correct. So you can provide that either CSV, and then we've also had success extracting the cross-references from PDFs. So if you have that from a manufacturer, we can extract that. The other thing, I've worked with a few clients that reached out to their manufacturers directly and just asked for the updated version of their cross-references, and they were able to send that through, and we were able to upload those as well.
Do you see a total of 4 questions in there right now in the Q&A tray?
I now got 2 more. One asking for a link. I can share the link. How good does the PDF quality have to be for PlanScan to work? We often get scans of paper or photos of plans. If those photos of plans are PDF, we can extract it there. But PlanScan does not work with JPEGs, or any image files. It's got to be a PDF. But otherwise, we've seen, some handwriting on PDFs that PlanScan is able to work through, as long as the PDFs have, nothing handwritten or like blocks on it that block the actual product from being read. PlanScan's pretty efficient in doing that at, a 95% rate.
Another new one just came in too.
Yeah, I don't know why it's not updating.
If you just click on off of the Q&A tab and then back onto the Q&A tab, you'll see the update.
I gotcha. Not popping for me, Toby. What's the question, Toby?
Okay, well, I'm just going to go because I'm going to go from the very top. You answered the question about the PDF quality.
Yep.
And you said about a link.
John,
and
I
then
see
there's
you
one
have
in here that says when
your...
you manually enter the cross-reference after you upload the schedule and the cross is missing, does it save it for going forward, or is it a one-time cross?
It saves it moving forward. Yep. Oh, I see the one by Taylor. Yeah, when you manually enter the cross-reference, as long as that floppy disk is blue, and you click save, then it's saved on the back end.
And did you answer the question about the DSG sync from Sloan?
From Sloan, loads their own pricing into ISQuote, and we have active code numbers. Will it automatically generate quotes based on DSG 8200, or does it require a code to generate a model or price? As long as the product number, so PlanScan matches a 1-to-1 product, so it should generate the quotes based on the DSG 8200.
And I think you may have gotten this one already. It's the one about being our reps responsible for providing the cross references.
Correct. Yes, they are. I saw that John Augusta has his hand raised. If you can ask your question in the Q&A, that would be great.
I'm not seeing any new questions in here for the last 3 minutes.
I saw John ask the question, cross-references are universal, not rep specific. Why are you not developing cross-references that can be available for all users? We don't want to take any liability in the cross-references and get into the game of rep sharing cross-references, as we're not attached to a manufacturer. So that's got to come from the rep, as different agencies quote differently. Alrighty, Toby. I'm not seeing any new ones, so I think we are good to go.
I'm not either, so that's great. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.